Little Hekman dresser I just picked up today. It's even got built-in distress marks. I don't know if I want to keep those or not, because I don't know if I want to. I don't know why they had that look to begin with. I'm not a big distressed guy personally. If I'm going to buy something, I want it to look good, and I don't think distressed looks good. But some people do. But I probably don't throw that crap in. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. Okay, I'm getting ready. I've already cleaned this little Hekman side table. I didn't figure that, I didn't show it in the video, but you know, you always need to clean it. I use crud cutter. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that. So I'm going to sand this top down and see what we have. I'm hoping I don't have to take out a scraper, but we'll see how the sanding goes. Starting off with a 120 sanding disc. Well, sanding the top of this actually went very well. I did not have to get out a carbide scraper. The finish came off pretty quickly with this 120. So after I get it completely sanded down, I'll go back over it with a 180 and 220, maybe a 150, but certainly the 180 and 220 to get it smoothed out. Okay, to do these edges here, I'm going to use a SurfPrep with a 120 to 150 sanding pad on it. It's usually good for the curves, and hopefully it's going to come off as easy as the top did. And the rest of this, I'm going to scuff sand. I'm planning on gel coating. That's for my boat. Gel staining, I think, at this point. But the rest of this I'm going to paint, I believe. So I'm going to start off just by scuff sanding the rest of it. Certainly, I don't need a SurfPrep sander to be able to do this, but it sure does come in handy. I feel that that's really where the SurfPrep really shines, is on curved areas. On flat areas, I tend to like the Orbital. It cuts a lot quicker. But for the curved, just nothing beats it. I could have done this by hand, but this does it a lot quicker and a lot more conveniently. Okay, so I've scuff sanded the side table. Now I'm going to take this down to bare wood, because whatever I do at the top, I'm going to do with this as well. So I'm going to take it down to bare wood, and then the bottom of it, I don't know what I'm going to do at the bottom. Needs to do something. Probably need to take that down to bare wood too, so it looks, of course, you know, the sides, I need to do the sides. The bottom, you can't get this thing out. There's a little blocks I had to unscrew to actually get this out. And so, unless you're laying on the floor looking up, you're never going to see the bottom. So I may not do the bottom. We'll see. See if I'm in the mood. Well, since this is a large flat surface, I'm going to use my Orbital on here. Starting out with a 120, then I'll move to a 180 and 220. And I did do the bottom. I can't, it just the detail side of me says I just can't leave it undone. I didn't put as many coats of the gel stain on the bottom as I did on the top, but it looks nice. So it's just not just raw on the bottom. General Finishes recommends, let's see, where's the front of this at? This is the front. Let's turn this around then. Recommends putting what they call a slip coat of mineral oil, mineral spirits on here. So that's what I'm going to do. I've used gel stain before, but I've never put on a coat of mineral spirits to begin with. So
I'm going to follow their direction. And see how this turns out. I've already stirred up my gel stain. They say just get it onto the surface, so that's just what I'm going to do. Alright, let's see if that's enough. And now I'm going to start wiping it down. Oh, I forgot to do the sides. Okay, and we'll start wiping it down. First coat's on, that was easy peasy. I'll let this dry overnight, come back and put a second coat on, and we'll see how that looks.
So now I'm spraying the primer onto the side table. I'm using a Wagner Flexio 3500 sprayer and Sherwin-Williams Extreme Bond primer. I did not detect any bleed through or tannins in this because of the way they had it previously finished. So this primer will be fine. I don't know if I'm going to put one or two coats on it. It's going to be a dark color that I'm going to be painting this, so it might be okay with one. We'll see.
Well, I'm getting ready to put the second coat of primer on this. Since I'm going to be painting this a dark color, I may not actually need the second coat of primer, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I forgot to spray the door fronts the last time, so I got to bring those in and spray those too.
Well, as you can see, I did decide to spray a second coat just to be safe. And so we'll get this on, and then I also need to bring the drawers in and spray those as well. I usually spray the drawers inside of my dressers or cabinets, but this time, just the way the drawers were made and the way that the little side table is made, I decided to do the drawers separate.
Okay, now I've got the primer on. I'm going to sand it down just to make it smooth before I put the first coat of paint on. So I'm using a used SurfPrep. Looks like a 180 to 220 sanding pad. I'm going to start there and see if that's enough to smooth this down.
Unless they are just totally worn out, I tend to keep my used SurfPrep sanding pads. They really come in handy for jobs like this. I'm not wasting a lot of new sandpaper or new pads, and these work out very well. But as I'm sanding, I'm starting to notice that the grain is showing through a lot more than I wanted or anticipated. So I think I'm going to have to address that. It's not the look that I'm looking for.
So in looking at this, the grain was really showing through on the primer. So I decided to go ahead and fill it in. I didn't have any grain filler, and it's such a small piece that I just used DAP wood filler, and you can see it all over. So I think it'll look better with the grain filled like that. Now the top I'm going to gel coat, so I'm not worried about that. But the sides I really wanted smooth. So I went ahead and put DAP wood filler all over it. and I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll see what that looks like and see what other adjustments I need to make.
So I sanded down the wood filler all over, and it made a big difference. Now I have a much smoother finish. So now I'm applying the first coat of the paint that I'm using. It's called Iron Ore from Sherwin-Williams, and I'm going to apply 2 coats to this. And I think that this is going to work really well with the Java gel stain that's on the top of this. I think it's going to look really nice together.
Okay, so for the feet of this, I'm simply going to, I've already sprayed 1 coat. I'm using Vevor Satin. I'm going to spray it on using this. And I'm using a different product on the top and on that slide out drawer or shelf, whatever you call it. But these, since they're just kind of on the bottom, and I had the Vevor, I figured that this would be fine. So I'm just sanding just a little on all of them, coat. So this is just the second coat. And I just put the gel stain on the top of the little side table, and I forgot to film it. So I'll pick it up on the second coat. Just got caught up in the heat of the moment, wanted to get it on, and I forgot to start the camera. All right, so okay, here we go. Pretty exciting, isn't it? Okay, so the top of this, obviously, I'm using a gel stain, General Finishes Java, and I forgot to, I didn't film, put on the first coat, but nothing exciting. But I'm getting ready to put on the second and last coat. I want it a little darker. And so I'm hoping that I've got just enough in this can to see me through. So I'm just getting it on. Okay, now I'm going to just take a paper towel and I'm going to smooth it out, wipe it on, and we'll start to wiping it off. Some people use rags. I find paper towels are just fine.
So I'm just getting the gel stain, that I put on just even on the table. Then I'm going to go back and start to remove the stain. And I'm going to go with the grain. I didn't mention that before, but when you're trying to wipe it off, you should always go with the grain. And so we'll get this wiped off, then another 8 to 12 hours or more of dry time, and then we'll be able to put on the top poly coat.
So I'm down to the last steps now. I'm going to apply, let's see which one's the back. This is the back. So I'll go this way. I'm going to use General Finishes oil-based gel top coat in a satin finish. It's the only, I don't know if it's the only finish it comes in. But I've never used this product before, and I'm going to give it a whirl. It's not something I can use every day because it's pretty expensive. But we're going to see how it works on this. And this has been drying now for quite a while. So Get all any dust, anything that was on here off of it. Okay, so we're going to open this up. Looks like that. Looks like kind of like pudding. So I said we need to obviously stir it up. Okay, so the tools I'm going to use, I went off camera to stir this. It was taking a long time to get this to stir this in and make it smooth. So I'm going to be using a foam brush to apply it. And according to General Finishes video I saw, use a staining brush, which is what this is. It's a deck brush. And then paper towels to wipe the edges down. And going to put on a thin layer, they said, going with the grain. So let's just see how this works out. Okay, use a paper towel to wipe down the edges. I really didn't do this back edge because just lightly. Make sure there's no drips, no runs. Then it said lightly take a deck brush and smooth it out. It said let the brush just glide across it with very little pressure. That's what I'm doing. You know, by nature, I'm not necessarily a rule follower, but with this stuff, for the first time I'm using something, I am. All right, we'll see how that sets up. Now we're going to go do the top of the little side table. So I'm going to move the camera. We'll be right back. I'm now going to do the top of this. Same kind of procedure. Get it on here.
So much like I did the shelf, I'm applying the gel stain top coat with a foam brush on the top, and then I will go back over it with the deck brush, and hopefully this will turn out okay. I mean, it looks like it's going on really nice, and so let's see what happens.
I may have a problem here. Looks like it pulled some stain up. In a couple of places, actually. I'm wondering if this was not completely dry. I may have to go back and sand down a little bit and reapply gel stain. And there's a spot there, spot there. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this turns out. I don't know. It may not have been dry. It felt dry. We'll see. All right. Gotta let it dry now. Okay, so obviously I've got a problem with this top. It pulled color from back there, some here. I'm not sure it's completely dry, and it should have been. But instead of letting this dry, I'm going to go ahead and try to remove it. I don't know what that's going to do. I'm going to use mineral spirits. Just try to remove all of it.
Since applying this gel stain top coat to the pull-out shelf went so well, I was not anticipating this problem at all on the top. But obviously it wasn't completely dry. It sure did feel like it was dry, but so, you know, like I said, I was going to let it dry and sand it, but I decided to go ahead and try to remove it all with mineral spirits. I am going to have to put another coat of gel stain on here, but you know, need to get all this top coat off and let that dry thoroughly, and then we're going to come at this again, and unfortunately I'm going to have to put another coat of gel stain on top and let that dry, and then put another coat of gel stain top coat on. I mean, it's going to be days before I get this done because of this. So while I'm waiting on the side table to dry, I'm going to go ahead and spray satin top coat on the drawer faces. So I've only got 3 of them, not a lot of surface area, and so I'm going to go ahead and get that done, at least the first coat, and then, you know, it only takes a couple hours for that to dry, and then I can come back and I can put the second coat on. And then when I get the top of the dresser all dried, and then having a new coat of gel stain and finally top coat on that, and then I'll be able to spray satin poly on the base.
Okay, so I'm getting ready to put the second coat on here, and I'm going to sand it down slightly, and then I'm going to remove all the dust. You know, this is tacky. I don't think I'm going to put the second coat on yet. It's sticky, kind of. So I think I'm going to leave this alone for today. Let this dry another day. So we're going to switch, and we're going to redo the top. I had put new gel stain on yesterday, and we're going to do that instead. And hopefully this time it's not going to pull the stain out. If it does, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So here we go.
I didn't record it, but I did put on another coat of gel stain on top of this to fill in the areas that got pulled when I put on the top coat. So again, that had to dry another 8 to 12 plus hours. That's the one thing that I don't like about using gel stain is the drying times. It really extends the whole length of the project. But other than that, it's real easy to use. So this time it looks like the top coat is not pulling the stain, and so this is going on much, much better. So we're going to get this done. We'll have to put on yet one more coat after this dries, another 8 to 12 hours.
Okay, the gel stain top coat that I put on this is not quite dry. I mean, it feels pretty dry, but it still feels just slightly tacky. So while that continues to dry, I'm going to go ahead and spray the cabinet itself with, this is a Satin Poly coat by Minwax. And that way I can get this done, and then spray 2 coats of this at least, and then another coat on top of this, and then we'll be done with this thing. So here we go.
So again, I'm using my Wagner 3500 sprayer, and I've got the airflow setting on 2, I believe, and I have the flow control I've turned it about 4 times, maybe 5 times. So, but this goes on really, really well. I am just so pleased with this sprayer over the Graco that I have been using, especially with Poly. I very seldom ever get any runs or drips, and when I do, it is always my fault. It's certainly nothing to do with the sprayer. But you notice I'm using a piece of cardboard to kind of protect overspray on the top, since I don't really want to get any spray up there. But we're going to go ahead and spray this. We'll be spraying 2 coats on the base, and then we'll address the top, and then we'll call this little side table done. So after many, 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 many hours of drying time, this is the final reveal. I didn't show putting the final coat of the gel stain top coat on. Just the same, it's just another coat. But this turned out very beautiful. It was frustrating to me because of the drying times of the gel stain, but this just turned out just very, very nice. So I hope that you found some things interesting and learned some things, especially about gel stain and gel stain top coat from watching this video. I appreciate you watching, and hope that was helpful in your endeavors of furniture makeovers and flipping. And I hope that you also subscribe and help my channel. And I will see you all in the next furniture makeover from the next season.